Joe Hendry has made a surprise WWE appearance last night. A future AEW World Title match has been set, and the Bloodline have earned a huge championship match on SmackDown. Stay tuned for the wrestling news. Next week, SmackDown will see quite a huge tag team title match. We've got the Bloodline facing DIY for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Now, this is, of course, Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. Tonga Loa has got an eye injury, so can't compete. But I'm excited to see if the Bloodline get those belts back in. Mostly excited just to see Jacob Fatu get a title belt.
I think that's probably likely to happen. We know how the Bloodline like to play. It's never fair. Even when it's supposed to be completely fair, it's never fair. I think that it's going to be a hell of a feud. Yep. Moving forward, them and DIY, it's certainly a feud that could, I guess, cement DIY in the eyes of fans who maybe weren't watching NXT, maybe aren't really aware of the kind of history together. But at the same time, I think you can't have the Bloodline without the Bloodline being sort of dripping in gold.
And dominant.
Right? They need to be dominant and they need to be dripping in gold.
Well, they won this opportunity in a gauntlet match last night. The Street Profits was kind of running through everyone until it came to the Bloodline. Bloodline managed to eliminate them from the match and secure their match. Now, last night's SmackDown was a pre-tape SmackDown, so people might be aware of this one, but it is set for next week's SmackDown, and it's the night before SummerSlam. I think many people assumed maybe when the news came out of this pre-tape SmackDown that they've earned that shot, it would be at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
It's weird that it's not.
No. But we've seen shows get kind of reduced down. There's still time it could get moved.
You think it could get moved over? It's weird for me to have.
It is very odd, unless there's going to be something screwy, and then we get like a rematch at SummerSlam.
I think there could be something screwy there. But also on SmackDown last night, and staying with the Bloodline. Well, Solo took another shot at Roman Reigns.
Yeah, he sort of, last week he made a very, very gentle sort of jab at Roman, establishing himself as the head of the table. But during a pre-tape on last night's SmackDown, Solo addressed Roman once again and said next weekend the Bloodline are going to handle family business. And if Roman Reigns has got a problem with that, you know where to find me. Now, of course, he's going up against Cody at Saturday's SummerSlam. So it's going to be...
Do we think Roman's returning next week, Sam? Do you think he's going to be there?
It's too early.
Yes,
I think it's too early. I think Solo is going to take the belt from Cody, though. I think that Solo's going to take the belt, and that then he's going to run his mouth, and then it's going to become this game of like, well, what the hell? And Cody's going to have to team up with Roman eventually. I think we all kind of see that. Oh,
interesting. See, I see Cody winning next week at SummerSlam, keeping that belt, keeping that title reign going, maybe to WrestleMania next year. But I do see Roman coming back at the end of the show to basically smite Solo Sikoa and basically be like, whoa, you're out of line.
It all depends on Roman's schedule, right? Because we heard that he was going to be gone for a long time. And for me, like, this isn't a long time. It's been a while, but it's not been the sort of ages that I thought it was going to be. So I can equally see Roman coming back and really getting the ball rolling on that kind of, I guess, old Bloodline versus new Bloodline, with probably an element of Cody Rhodes in there. People cheering Roman as a face. I can see it all, but at the same time, would it not be fun to have Solo just running roughshod over the company fully?
It would certainly be fun, especially going into War Games at the end of the year. But we will stay tuned, and maybe we'll see Roman next week. Let us know in the comments below if you think we'll see him on Saturday next week. Moving over to AEW side of things just now, we do have a future AEW World Title Match set. This is, of course, because Darby Allin won the Royal Rampage on last night's Rampage. This is a match set for Grand Slam up September 25th. Now, between now and then, there is AEW All In down at Wembley, where we'll see Bryan Danielson challenging Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. So we're not quite sure who Darby's actually going to be facing on Grand Slam. But it's going to be one of those two men, surely.
I'm still leaning towards Swerve,
Yeah, him keeping that belt. Either way, going in from that match, you then go into Wrestle Dream, which is going to be in Seattle, the home state of Washington, for all three of these guys. Danielson, Swerve, and Darby.
So they all somehow have to lose.
They all have to lose in their hometown. So it does make it, for me, that little bit more unpredictable, because you've got Who's going as the hometown champion out
with
of these
the hometown
three?
advantage, even though they've all sort of got the hometown advantage.
Yeah.
It's good. The atmosphere there is going to be wild, though.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out who Darby faces in just a few weeks' time at AEW All In. But staying with sort of the AEW and the Ring of Honor universe right now, of course, last night was Death Before Dishonor. Lee Moriarty was challenging for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship against Wheeler Yuta, and he has now become the new Ring of Honor Pure Champion. He beat him with a roll-up. Now, both men had exhausted all of their rope break options by the time the sort of final fall came, which meant that rope breaks were legal.
Yeah.
And you can use the ropes to your advantage, which is exactly what Lee Moriarty did with a roll-up, using the ropes to his advantage for some cheeky leverage.
I'm a big fan of the pure rules.
Yeah, do you
I'm
like
a big
them?
fan of, it just adds a different element to wrestling all around, doesn't it? And it's sort of, it's a legit belt, I guess, but it's one of those where any way to mix up
It
like
feels
the rules
fresh.
a little bit, it feels a lot fresh.
It feels fresh, but also a throwback at the same
Yeah.
time, and especially when you've got young talents like Yuta and
Of
Moriarty going in there and sort of mixing it up and having like the classic Danielson matches of old Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we want to see. But that wasn't the only Ring of Honor championship to change hands at last night's pay-per-view. We saw the Ring of Honor Women's TV Championship change hands and is now in the possession of Red Velvet because she beat Billy Starks.
After Billy Starks again tried
Yep.
to sort of do the fake injury thing.
Did the fake injury
Yeah.
angle, which everyone last time was like, and then went,
but
oh,
then
that was
also
really
really well
good.
done.
Yeah, that was really, really good. So we've now, she tried it again, but Red Velvet was too smart this time and managed to hit the final slice for the win and take home that championship. Ring of Honor's in an interesting spot right now because of how it's being utilised and who the champions are and how they're being utilised on AEW TV. With the win of Red Velvet, and previously also with Billy Starks, I guess, you do kind of have that core few names that are appearing there. They're getting those championships, and it feels... there's upward momentum.
Yeah,
right
which
now
is
for Ring of
quite
Honor.
nice because Ring of Honor has... It's not that it's been stagnating or anything like that. It just feels like it's been sort of... Like if AEW gets a lot of tending to, Ring of Honor has to quickly kind of it's like time is obviously very limited for Tony Khan. So I feel that any way that we can start just cementing Ring of Honor a bit more and really just helping elevate it as a brand, then I'm all for that because it's Ring of Honor. It's been around for as long as I've been watching independent wrestling. It's important.
It's got a massive history, and I think last night's pay-per-view, just very briefly, was a very good representation of what the brand should be. This residency in Arlington, along with Collision, great for the brand.
Yeah.
The crowd was hot. The matches were great. Mark Briscoe with a match with Roderick Strong. Phenomenal. You go and check it out. We're going to round things off just now with some news about Joe Hendry. Now, I didn't expect to wake up on a Saturday morning and see that Joe Hendry has made a surprise WWE appearance because he's resigned. He's on TNA.
He's on TNA
and occasionally on Tuesday nights.
We know there's a bit of a mix-up, but it tends to be the Tuesday days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, woke up this morning, checked my phone. Someone in Davenport, Florida has clearly said Joe Hendry's name because he turned up at an NXT house show last night, teaming with Javon Evans and Shiloh Hill to take on Gallus. Looks like Gallus is going to be his first proper feud on WWE TV. We've seen teases of
Turn
it.
into toothpaste.
I mean, with the star power that Joe Hendry has, he really should be.
Grind him down.
But it's nice to see that they're testing the waters on a house show with him. I think bringing him in and being like, hey, you genuinely don't know when he's going to turn up.
I mean, of course, there was all the shock after Slammiversary as well. I think a lot of people thought, myself included, that it was Hendry's time. But it's there's a lot of kind of, well, he's obviously NXT are very interested in him, and there's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumor and hearsay going on right now. But it's just fantastic to see that Joe's been just popping up.
Just popping up.
Yeah.
If you say his name, he might appear. I'm worried he could be hearing us right now. He's tight enough.
Claps his hands and bursts through the fence.
He has done it before in here. We wouldn't put it past him. But that is all we've got for you just now. We will be back later on today with more wrestling news because the wrestling world just doesn't stop, Sam, does it?
No, it's never ending.
See you later.